Hey everybody. Um okay, phew. Okay, after being wined and dined, not wined, but well, wine was available, but I did not partake in it. After being swept off my feet for 3 wonderful days at California's Great America, things kind of went a little downhill at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. One of the big problems was that three of their coasters were closed. Their Boomerang was closed, their SLC was closed. Didn't bother me, I'd already ridden them. But their Flash V2 was also closed. And uh, what day was this? This was a Wednesday, it was June 19th, but still, one problem that I had was that apart from their SNS free spin and their Zamperla spinning mouse, all of their coasters only ran one train. So lines were not pleasant at all. Medusa, their floorless, which I could normally run like two or three trains, only ran one. Their RMC only ran one. Their SNS free spin only had two cars. Over Texas, I think that had like five or six cars there. Um, so this day was not the best day, especially when you compare to the previous 3 days when California's Great America, like their Patriot was running two trains. Demon was running two trains. I think Grizzly was running two trains. Pretty much things that could run multiple trains ran multiple trains at California's Great America. So you go from multiple trains there to one train at Discovery Kingdom, and the park the parks just felt like the parks were felt very, very different from each other. Um I did do one of the behind the scenes experiences with the sharks, I believe. Um because I was like, okay, do you want to walk through the rapids ride? Do you want to walk around a closed coaster? Or do you want to walk around the animals? And I was like, I'll walk around the animals. That seems cool. Um, I asked like several questions. One of the big questions that I asked was, if a shark bites you, what is like a remedy or a cure or something? Or something that you can like, or because I had heard on a special that if you get bitten by an alligator or crocodile, um, the remedy is undiluted bleach from the source. So I was wondering if that was the case, and they didn't know. So I was the dummy. Um, it was kind of cool being around, like seeing like behind the scenes experiences with the animals and like how what happened and cool stuff and all, like how they're like trying to get the animals to like breed and stuff, like how they put on like certain types of music. There's certain when they want to be fed, they like are trying to like go into they're trying to like go into a corner and with kind of like a version of like a pet porter or something, or like a cage, but very good size. So I think that's awesome. Um, I did ask them like, is the park going to keep the animals, because Cedar Fair does not work with has in the past or for years has not worked with live animals at their theme park. So that's something that I was kind of curious about. After that, then I think I rode Medusa. Then Kay and I rode Cobra. Then after that, then I think we just like ran uphill because man, the park is kind of hilly, you go up hills and stuff, and some of the rides are like very far apart. I know that because of height and whatnot, but still. Uh, then I rode a Sidewinder Safari. Um, they had a couple of shows, or I don't know if it's not necessarily shows. They had a couple of animal encounters or animal areas open. I'll say that. So that was cool. After that, then it was time to eat. So then we went to the buffet and stuff. Um, they brought out some animals, which was cool. I asked if I could like touch one, like the parrot, and they were like no, and I was like okay, fine, whatever. Then we kind of like walked along the water, kind of. Yeah. We walked along the water and we went inside like a butterfly area. This is nothing on the park. This is more of me. I have I have arthritis in my feet, and this day is probably when things started really going downhill because, when my feet hurt, I can only walk so much before I need to like sit down or like I feel like my feet are in pain because it feels like I'm just like walking on like concrete or something. Got to ride Superman. That was not even testing. I think the ride was finished, but it wasn't testing. When I went last time, so I got to do that. Got to do Batman the ride. Got to do SNS free spin. Got to do the Joker. Um, I got to do these rides, and it's fun. They were all fun and fine and everything, but the fact that they only ran one train and the fact that I had been on a free spin 5 days ago, so I know it's not the park's fault. Um, so then I'm trying to think what happened after that. Hmm, it's not saying anything. Uh, After that, then we got to like go into the stadium, kind of near like where you got to like pet like um stingrays, I guess. The ocean discovery area somewhere around there. It it looks like a sea lion stadium. There actually was a sea lion. This is the first major my fault, I guess, because I don't know everything about theme parks, but when I do know something and someone says something that is when someone says an opinion that is different, like I think I think I think American Triple Loop at Indiana Beach is the world's best coaster. I personally I haven't ridden it, so but from what I've heard, it's not the I don't it probably wouldn't be my favorite coaster, but the fact that you're saying that where it's like I for me it's my favorite coaster. It's like I can't argue with that. I can question it, but I can't argue with it. When you're a park person, I think he was the park general manager, and he was talking about like the history of the park, and he was talking about how they used to be in like Redwood City, um and then they moved to Vallejo. There it was on the site of some corporation or some company. I can't remember what it was. But he then said 1998 was the first year we had mechanical rides in the park. And for you Six Flags Discovery Kingdom fans, that's not 100% accurate. So when he was saying that, like when he got towards the end where he was talking about like Medusa and Superman and Batman the Ride and DC Universe and all of these incredible attractions and stuff, when he was talking about all that stuff, that's when I started being like I was trying to like really get his attention, and that's when he like called on me. He said, "Oh, yes, you want to say something?" And I was like, I had to correct him because it's in my nature. I am sorry, people. Um, I told him that he said that mechanical rides were first added in 1998. I said that mechanical rides were actually added in 1997 in Popeye's Seaport, now Looney Tunes Seaport. Fortunately, this guy either had a he had like he either had very thick skin, or he could just like roll with the punches, or he was, or maybe it's just him, or maybe he knew that we were a group. So he actually said, well, I guess I shouldn't have told, I guess it's a good thing I didn't say that I've been working here for like 35 years. Which was funny. And he also said, like, I'm also glad that you called it Popeye Seaport. Um, I had heard like some things of like, ooh, maybe you shouldn't have said that. You should have just kind of kept it quiet. You shouldn't have said anything. Da, 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 da. Um, so then afterwards, I like went to him and I said, was that okay with what I said? And he said, oh, that it was fine. It was fine. You were nice about it. Which, I thought I was. Like, my goal is never to like humiliate. My goal is not to humiliate. My goal is to just like correct. I'm sorry. I don't. There's no other way to put it. I've done it before. That's probably why I don't have the greatest reputation. Um, so I had ridden. I then rode Skyscreamer. I tried to ride Roadrunner Express, but those buffets were not kind to me, so I was unable to fit on Roadrunner Express. I'd already ridden it, so I just went. So I think I rode Skyscreamer. I think I rode Cobra again, and then I think we just like sat in the front. The reason why was because I can't remember this guy's name, and I feel very terrible. But we were going to Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk the next day. Uh, for the next 2 days for the event for CoasterCon. Um, his mother was not did not want to go, did not want to do the drive to Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. So he kind of rode with somebody else to Discovery Kingdom. And we had planned this at California's Great America. It's like, okay, uh we'll drive you to Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Cool. It's fine. Um I can't remember his name. I'm very sorry. He's a very kind individual. He's a very nice guy. He was willing to listen to me talk about his parks, talk about Disneyland, just talk about like random stuff. Um then after so we did the drive back south. Um and I kind of got him addicted to veggie straws because we were spending so much time in the parks, we weren't spending time eating outside of the parks. So we had like a huge bag of veggie straws, and usually I bring veggie straws, to like calm Kay's nerves because when she's in an area she's not familiar with, she will get a little tense and J- she'll be like, Justin, give me some Pepsi, or Justin, give me some chocolate, or give me some candy, or give me something. So, that was cool. So I got him addicted to veggie straws, and then we went to the hotel. Okay, remember how I had commented that my feet were starting to hurt? This is like, this was now June 20th, Thursday, and as the day progresses, the quality of my feet kind of drops down dramatically, and Motrin didn't help, new shoes didn't help, new socks didn't help, putting my feet up didn't help. The park is too small to have a wheelchair, so I was just kind of like I was just kind of like burnt out as the day went on, and I apologize. Um, so I think we were walking around the park, and I think I remembered that the park was famous for its corn dogs. Um, I don't think I got a corn dog. I can't remember what I got. I think I might have gotten just like a giant like corn mozzarella or cornbread, kind of like a corn dog, but replaced the corn dog with a mozzarella stick. So I had that, and it was wonderful. But it was like 80 or 90 degrees, so drink eating something that hot, it's like. We ended up getting a souvenir bottle because I think refills were free that day, and then future refills were only like $1. So that's what we decided to do. So I did the sky ride. Kay is okay with the sky ride where you're completely enclosed. When it's a sky ride where or chairlift where your feet are like dangling, that kind of like freaks her out, and she was like, "No, it's okay. You can ride it. I'll walk." And something that was cool was, I'm one of those people where I'll say, "Hey, you look like somebody." I'm sorry, that's just who I am. And there was a couple who were like making out, who were like kissing on the sky ride, and I kind of like called him out, and I was like, "That's the best part of sky rides, right?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Have a good day, Olivia Rodrigo." She actually did look like Olivia Rodrigo, which, that's a positive, right? Um, so then we got to ride the Giant Dipper. It was a little shakier than I remember it being. Maybe it's because I rode it on the right side, I think. Later on, I rode it on the left side and in the front, and it was much smoother. Um, it that is a ride Kay would not have enjoyed. After that, then I think they have it looks like a Chance Freestyle, or maybe it's like a knockoff Chance Freestyle. But they had like a freestyle ride where it's kind of like a wipeout, except you're like sitting outwards. I rode that, and I thought it was fun for the most part, but towards the end, it really tries to like spin super fast to like really like give you like G's and like have you like sucked into the seat. So I was like, whew. It was like I felt my head was like just going like about to explode or something. After that, then we did the log flume. Then we did the dark ride, the one where it kind of probably goes underneath the board. One of them that goes underneath the boardwalk. I wish I could remember which one. Was it the cave train? Hold on a second, people. Um, Cave train. Yeah, that's probably it. Um, so that was like cool and fun to do. It felt kind of like a oh, one thing I forgot to mention in the Texas video is that I did Pirates of Speedlunkers Cave, where okay. It's kind of like half Pirates of the Caribbean, half Small World. So I thought that was kind of odd. This cave train has similar like creatures, and it's just kind of weird. It's fun, but it's kind of weird. Like it's kind of feels like it's like their knockoff Flintstones, kind of. So yeah, it was. So that was kind of cool. I didn't know I didn't know a lot of the rides in the park, so when I went to them, I was like, "Oh, cool!" Or I was like, What is this?" And they were like, "Oh, it's this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll skip it." "What is this?" "Oh, it's this." "I'll ride it." So then, so then I rode the Sea Serpent kids coaster. After that, then I think we rode the Ghost Blaster Shooting Dark ride. That was kind of fun. I think Kay beat me, which is fine, I guess. Then they had like bumper cars that were similar to the ones that that I did at Lost Island, where they're kind of like bumper boats, bumper cars, where like you're sitting on like a tub, pretty much. You're sitting inside like an inner tube, pretty much. And because of where my feet were, and because I had to like squirm myself in, this kind of like really like hurt me, and it's completely my fault. I'm not blaming the park at all, but that's when things kind of got that's when my ankles like it went from like a 10 to like a 7 to like a 3. And as the night progressed, things just got worse and worse, and I just got in more and more pain. It was one of those things where I couldn't even like hop on one foot because my foot, I would still feel the pain. So it was not the most fun experience it was not the most fun experience of my ankle. Um, then we had to like walk all the way back and do the to go to the Coconut Grove restaurant for dinner, and there was something about pe- about a company who painted rides. I think I wish I knew who it was. Does not say who it is. That's perfect. Okay, so they were talking about like painting rides and stuff, and he did say something inaccurate about Astro World, so I had to correct him. Um, and then there was another thing where I asked him about painting water slides. Like how do you go around painting? How do you paint water slides? Because I was just wondering. Um, then there was a chat with the quote boardwalk legends. Because Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk is family owned. They've been family owned for over 100 years, for well over 100 years. So they were kind of telling like their story. They were talking about the wild mouse. They were talking about like a whole bunch of coasters. They were talking about coasters. They were talking about rides. They were talking about maintenance. They were talking about operations. They were talking about a whole bunch of stuff. And hmm, then the person who was in charge of the event, one of them said, if you can stump them, you get front of the line access for ERT on the Giant Dipper. As someone who's knows a few things about theme parks, I was able to come up with a couple of questions. I think it's now believed that what that person was saying might have been saying it as a joke, but I'm sorry, you can't tell 500 enthusiasts, you can't have 500 enthusiasts say like, "Hey, if you can challenge park officials on something, you win from the line." You can't be surprised if somebody takes you seriously, and I was that somebody. So I'm trying to think, what was the thing I asked? I think the thing I asked was in 1990, I think I said in 1995, Rick Seaback filmed footage for a documentary, but the footage was never used. Years later, he came back and filmed new footage for the documentary Great Old Amusement Parks. What was the name of the documentary that he filmed footage for but never used? And they were like, uh, I don't know. So, I think that was the one where I stumped them. Or, or maybe it was the one where I said, in 2000, a group of seven acers went to parks in California to try to ride the most roller coasters in 24 hours. Um, they rode the Giant Dipper first. I don't know if I said Big Dipper, but I apologize. Then they went to the Sea Serpent, and then they said the coaster only seats 6 riders. And then so the seventh Acer had to take a ride all by himself. And then I asked him, "What was the name of that Acer?" So I was just asking them like super like challenging, tough questions, and I kind of stumped them. So I did get to do From the Line. I got to ride Giant Dipper. Um, Giant Dipper was running only one train, but that park isn't, like super. That park doesn't have the huge. That park doesn't probably make like the huge amounts of money that Six Flags does. So I'm willing to excuse Giant Dipper for running only one train. So anyway, after the event, um, we had like 2 hours, I think, 2.5 hours until my ERT ride. So one thing that I wanted to do was wanted to like put my I kind of like wanted to walk on the beach, and I kind of wanted to like play in the sand and like feel the water and stuff. Cause I was thinking the next day spend a lot of the time at in the beach because, well, I'm from Illinois. I don't see the beach all that often, especially when it's connected to an ocean. Um, but it was very clear that with my ankles, I was on borrowed time. I was on borrowed time as it was for with my ankles. So I just decided to like dip my hands in the water, and like my feet ended up getting wet, but it was okay because I my feet didn't get too wet, but they did get wet, so I kind of just like walked through the beach, and it they eventually got dry, or they eventually got washed off or got dry or something, so that was cool. Um, then I did the Loof Carousel, and I made sure that Kay rode it with me. It's the one with like the rings where you like try to throw them in the clown's mouth. To kind of because I kind of was I don't know if I would technically be called a jerk because I stumped I stumped the two legends with Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk questions. I kind of decided to like pay it forward a little bit, so to speak. So there was a girl who was trying to like catch the brass ring, but the problem is that she was younger, So as a result, her arms were like much shorter than mine. So I was able to get like one or two ring. So I was able to get like a ring almost every time, but she wasn't. And she kept like trying like, she wasn't able to do it. So I was like, hey, so I like told her, it's like, or told her mom first, like, hey, does she want a ring? Here you go. I was like, now remember, don't take anything from strangers unless they give them to your mom first and she inspects them. So yeah, I was able to get some rings. I kept trying to like throw them in. I didn't get anywhere close. Spoiler alert: I am not an athlete. So we did the carousel. I don't know if it might. I think before that, I rode Undertow. That's a fun coaster. Marer doesn't. I don't think Marer makes the best looping coasters, but they make some of the best spinning coasters. So you guys, I mean, Marer, you guys are good. Just avoid those square wheels on your looping coasters. That's all. That's all I'm asking, please. Then it was time to ride the Haunted Castle Dark Ride. I knew nothing about this dark ride. I originally thought it was a walkthrough. That's how little I knew, but so I decided to ride it. And uh but yeah, I knew nothing about it. Um it it's another ride where it kind of like goes underneath where it kind of like goes underneath the boardwalk, which I'm assuming is for space reasons. Um or maybe I did this after, or maybe I did this after Giant Dipper. I might, yeah, I did this. I got in line before Giant Dipper, but it was time for me to do ERT. It was time for me to do my friend line for Giant Dipper. So then I rode Giant Dipper. Then I rode the Dark Ride. Uh, Haunted Castle. That's kind of like the Haunted Mansion style Dark Ride. I would say that and Cave Train are probably like the park's better Dark Rides versus Sally. No offense, Sally. So then So I did so I got to pick whatever row, so I picked the front row because why not? The ride was a lot more fun in the front row on the left side versus in the back versus somewhere in the middle or back on the right side. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if I sat in the right row or something. I don't know what it was. There were a few employees, so I was able to like ask them about, I asked them the trivia questions and they didn't know either. So I was like, my goal was to pick like tough ones. And it was like, and they were like, well, you succeeded. Oh, by the way, I had asked a few Acers in the group after my incident at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom if what I said was okay, and they said for the most part like it was fine. He had a sense of humor about it. So then I talked to one of the people who was like one of the like heads of the event, and I asked was that okay with what I said about rides? And she said, "Yeah, that was fine. Don't worry about it. He was okay with it. You didn't get in trouble. You're not in trouble. You're fine." I'm like, "Okay." Phew. Um. So Giant Dipper. Then Kay and I did the Haunted Castle. Then here's where the bad part of the night is. I was supposed to meet up with Andy to ride a couple of rides, but my ankles were just killing me. I could not, I could barely like stand up. I could barely keep moving. And the problem was that we stayed at a hotel that was a couple of blocks away from Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, so we didn't drive. So I was like just trying my hardest to walk. I felt like I was like walking on blades or something. It was just It was extremely uncomfortable. I was like, I'm just gonna take some medicine and like just go to sleep. I'm hopefully I can feel better in the morning. And we were supposed to do like we were gonna do Neptune's Kingdom, or yeah, Neptune's Kingdom, the indoor FEC area that had arcade games and it had mini golf because both of us are fans of mini golf. But my feet were so like, or really, it was just my right foot. My right foot was so bad. We didn't even go to the park the next day. We just like stayed in we just stayed in the hotel room until like 11 or noon. Then we we just like drove to the next hotel, and then I just stayed us went to the hotel, or went to my bed and just like tried to get as much sleep as I could. The pain was intense and heavy. um Kay, God bless her heart, she was like saying, "Hey, you want to get like a burger or something? You want to get some barbecue? You want to get some pizza?" And I was like, "No, I'm fine. Let's like finish the chips, or let's try to like finish the snacks that we bought from Walmart or something." And yeah, it took me so we then flew home on the 22nd. It took me probably close to like almost 2 weeks to like get my foot back on track, and it was it was not very pleasant. That was entirely my fault. It was not the park's fault. It was nobody's fault but my body's fault, okay? Um so anyway, this is my review of CoasterCon and Six Flags Over Texas. Um I have really no thoughts about the merger. I think I already did a merger wish list video, and I've already done a video about what I would add to every single Six Flags in Cedar Fair Park now. Um, Probably none of that is, probably only a third of that will probably ever happen, but hey, that's the fun part about making wishes. So yeah, I watched a lot of Forensic Files and I watched a lot of Castle. Um, the person that was in charge of planning, who was like the event court, the person in charge of like group catering or something at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. I just I had asked him like, what would you add to the park if you could? He said probably a water ride because our water rides are pretty old. Then I think I asked him like um what did I ask him? I think I asked him I decided to try to stump him on a question. And the question that I had was, what is the only ride to be added and removed in the same year at this park? And he was like, Harley Quinn. I was like, I think that lasted 2 years. He was like, uh, only lasted a year. Uh, V2, and I was like, yeah, I think that station is still standing. So no, it wasn't that, but I said like what ride was added and removed in the same year. He named like 6 or 7 things, and it was like Zonga, and I was like, I think that lasted like 2 or 3 years. It was like, I don't know. So then I revealed the answer, the swan boats, and there was like a railing, and he just like hit the railing, and he was like, I forgot about the swan boats. So I thought, so while Discovery Kingdom was not the was not peak perfection. I do give them credit that the people that are in charge of the park at least had kind of like a sense of humor and were cool and calm and willing to put up with me. So thank you. Oh, and also shout out for having solar panels, even though the parking lot is like it feels like it's a third of a mile away. I think I commented like, could you guys consider like a ferry or water taxis or something, or like one of those moving sidewalks? That'd be really cool, or like trams or something. No idea if any of those will ever happen, but that's kind of like one of my wishes. Okay, so there you go. That's the good and that's the bad of my California and Texas trip. See ya.